Hello, guys. We are here with Jasmine Castillo.
Hi.
Listen, I have been talking about you um, on uh, Facebook. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't even think that I actually tagged you in it, but I've been talking about you and your story, and I think it's so important that people understand your story and hear your story. Listen, when
Thank
I
you.
heard your podcast about you, but at the same time, it was like you were telling a story that we didn't know it was you.
Mm.
And I think that was so cool.
Well, thank you
So
for
cool.
listening. Thank
Um, and again, we'll talk about. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm late, and y'all know I'm never, ever, ever, ever late. Ever. Because I think black people need to be on time, even though we're not. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm late. Um, but anyways. Okay. So sorry, Jessica.
No worries. I'm just glad that I'm here with you, Katrina. Thank you.
Man. Every time I think about you, oh my God, Mr. Robinson's here. Every time I think I talk about you or I think about you, it's like it's Jasmine. It's Jasmine. You have the story that a lot of women have but are scared to tell.
Mm.
And I'm going to try not to cry, but when I heard your story and at the end of it you were like the story of Jasmine is me.
Mhm. Yeah. I wanted to um I wanted to share that even though you just got to know me and behind every person, you don't know the whole story.
Right.
I wanted to show that this little girl was like every other little girl that has encountered that type of situation. And I was able to give that little girl a name and a personality and a face and a family. A lot of things that some families don't get to have. Some children don't get to have their name given back to them because they lost their lives or the family has abandoned them and the child has lost their voice. So it's a combination of things that could happen to anybody.
For me, the guts that you had to actually tell your story when a lot of us can't. um we want to tell our stories, however families can't always accept what we want to tell. And again, that when I heard your story, I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Um,
cry on a lot of my interviews, but your story hit me so hard that people don't understand. They don't understand. They don't. It, we can. We. I can't even explain it. I'm
it's
gonna let
okay.
you explain it because that's your forte. I think that you have done an amazing job at telling your story. And um, I think it's important for you to let everyone else know that how they can tell their story.
It took me a long time to, like I said, I think it's before we got online, that it took me over 30 years to even discover my voice because it was something like the obstacles that a lot of people have gone through. Um, I had a lot of family who literally turned their backs on me when I even told them what was going on. It was nothing but a denial. Come to
Mhm.
find out, a lot of family members who I've spoken to before I even did that first podcast, episode one, they identified that they had gone through that as well. I felt as if I that kind of gave me the more of a urgency to speak out more and to speak on their behalf because they are in the same situation where it's still a secret to them. Some
Mhm.
even said that they were to entrust me on their secret. They said that they were going to keep until they're on their deathbed, and
Oh, wow.
that's sad because the women that I spoke to in my family are in their 60s, in their 70s, and they've carried that for so many decades, and it kind of lit a fire under my butt to talk on their behalf because it wasn't as if they didn't have the opportunity to do so.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like getting into accepting your voice. It was one of
Mhm.
the things that I had to kind of maneuver around just to hear my voice on recording and trying to start up a podcast and talk about my feelings. It was
Yes.
it was like, yeah, there's like some type of like little short
Mhm.
thing on YouTube where someone's doing their voice recording to their significant other and then they hear it play back. That's me. I'm hearing like a little squeaky, annoying nasal voice. So I
Yeah.
had to I'm like, this is not gonna come across,
Understood.
you
Understood.
know. So yeah, it's a process. But to have a group of people like how you're creating with your the missing struggle and just being in the game gives other people that encouragement and determination to finally break that glass ceiling in regards to their voice. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
we need to come together on that. So yeah.
I never thought in a million years I would be on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube talking about missing persons in my family. Never in a million years.
Mm,
But at the same time, I think it's so important that we have to let the public know that it's not just, um, somebody ran off, and that's why they're missing. It's sex, human trafficking, and organ trafficking that people are missing. Um, and that's why I think it's so important to have your story on.
mm,
Like when I heard your story, I was like, "What?"
mhm,
And then and then at the listen, I gotta put that link somewhere in the comments because when I heard you and you said that girl was me, I instantly started crying
mhm.
because there's so many people that are you that cannot tell their story, and you did.
Yeah. I
And
wanted to
you
be the voice
did.
of that's the voice of all the children that were cut short or had it restrained from them. And they're
And you
currently,
did. And you
yeah.
did, Jasmine. Like we So I'm gonna stop crying. I have to like for me, I have to honor your resilience and your nobody has the courage that you have to tell what happened to you. And that's why I admire you so much.
You're here.
But
You're
there's so
here.
many black, brown girls that are going through this that will never ever tell their story.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop crying.
You're gonna make me start crying too, because I'm holding it back. But all I wanted to say, Katrina, is that you're here, and I'm glad that you're here. I think I've even mentioned it through text messages. There's only one of you, and all I can say is I see you and I hear you. And this is your opportunity to make that voice powerful. And you're doing it. You're
But
making other
you're doing
people.
it. And
You're
I have to applaud you because a lot of us don't want to do that because it may hurt our families. It may hurt our families uh uh what do I want to say out the
their reputation,
yes.
bringing dishonor and embarrassment to the family because of.
Yes. And that's why I have to just say you're who does that?
Mhm.
There's not a lot of people that do that. Like I can't do that. And I have a very big family, but I cannot talk about what happened. But for you to just you made a whole podcast about you and and oh my god.
Yeah,
Listen,
it took such a long time for me to even record
did it
that.
really?
There is so many times that I stopped, cried, started again,
Oh,
re-recorded. I had a document. I think I even mentioned it on our text. My mother was getting rid of a lot of things in her filing system, and she actually gave me a big stack of documents of when I was going through treatment centers as a kid, the court system when it happened, and the results from the police report and other things that happened during that time. Like being 9 years old, literally just started life on this earth, and it just kind of went from bad to worse.
right.
And it's it was hard for me. It was really, really hard for me because I had a lot of backlash from family members, specifically from my father's side, because I was talking directly about him.
Oh wow.
And
And your father's side is the black side of your family, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So I actually had one of my favorite aunts actually reached out to me through Facebook when she saw my post saying, because I broadcasted the post saying, "Hey, I'm about to start this episode. If there's anyone who'd like to share anything in regards to this episode about my father, everybody knows who he is, so I didn't have to like start putting names out there."
Oh wow.
But my aunt actually responded, who was my one of my favorite, stated that, "How dare you? How dare you call him out in public? This could have been something you could have done personally. Don't you know that he was just diagnosed with cancer? And this is
See,
how you
that's
disrespect him?" And I said,
that's the
"What?"
thing. That's the thing. That is the thing. Like, and we as black women and our families, that's what we're looking at. We're like, but he did this to me.
Mm-hmm. It's like she totally dismissed it. She knew the story
Right.
behind it. She was actually part of the storyline, and spending time when I was in a treatment center. I had like, what do you call it, permission to go on holidays, like
Mhm.
sign off to go on holidays with family members. She was one of the family members that I would stay at her home for like the weekend or a holiday. And I'm like, but you've known from the beginning what I went through. And everybody was like, they completely dismissed me. They said I was a liar. They called me a whore, that I deserved
Absolutely.
it. And that
Hmm.
part, the whore part, came from my own mother.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Later on, she told me that it was reverse psychology, saying the reason why I say those things is because it was to make you stronger. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. That's some bad parenting right there. But that's
What?
how we deal with it. That's the Generation X, mentality of the boomers' parenting skills. Just deal with it. Suck it up.
Jasmine, I I love you. I have so much respect for you that it only because I've gone through what you've gone through. I don't think I don't think it's um I don't think it's gone to the extreme that you went through.
Hmm.
But when I told somebody that this happened to me, they were like, "Oh no, you're mistaken."
Yeah.
No, I'm not mistaken. I know what happened to me. And again, just speaking to you, you're such an amazing woman. You're so amazing that you're not scared to tell your story. And do you know how many women are?
Hmm.
Black, brown, Asian, whatever. We're all scared to tell our story because we don't want to, we don't want to, we don't want to down our family.
Hmm.
And
That's
that's why I love you so much. Like,
Love you too, Katrina.
man,
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you actually reached out to me initially.
oh,
I was like,
really?
wait a minute, who is? And then when you told me that you were listening to the podcast for Kaya Taylor, which was a two-parter, and I wanted to thank. I guess I really want to thank the reason why it turned out so well. I had MW, who is a writer who researches a lot of things. I had a lot of support last year from a lot of people who would just volunteer their time to research for me
Cool.
and to create, these beautiful outlines of detailed information on the story of Kaya specifically. So, yeah, she did an amazing job.
No,
I would have
you did.
I was just a voice behind the podcast, but MW, I give her all that credit for the
You
outline
know
of
what? I hear that a lot on all of your podcasts because I listen to a lot of your podcasts, and I'm going to tell the story um, to the audience. Hands off my podcast is the shit. I'm just going to let you know that, and I speak to a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community. Um, uh, Listen, dog, you are the shit. You are. Listen, I've never heard so many podcasts that are like, you're the shit, and you don't even know it. But I'm going to let you know it. And I'm going to let all of my listeners hear it. I'm going to let all of my comrades listen. I'm going to send this interview to everybody because
Thank
your
you.
podcast is the most is the what's the word I want to say?
The
You
cat's
did a
meow.
podcast on my sister,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I did hear a couple of other ones, kind of like from when I was trying to build up enough information about Kaya Taylor's story and background. And I came across a lot of podcasters. I'm not going to claim any names or anything, but it was
agree.
like there was a lot of talking about their day and saying, "Hey, I walked my dog the other day and and some other crazy stuff." And then they'll start joking and making fun of what happened. And I'm like, like 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of the podcast. It's like we don't I mean, you can always have a separate episode on your
Mhm.
personal life, but from what I understand, I came for stories of
Mhm.
how I can learn about this person, how to get a face with a name, a story behind this person's life. And all I'm hearing is about what you did for last weekend when you went
Right.
on vacation or whatever. And I'm like,
Agreed.
I cut it off by 7 minutes because it's like, I didn't come here for this. I came here for example, like I came for Kaya Taylor to listen to more information about Kaya Taylor. And all I'm getting is rambling on about something you've learned over the weekend.
But I
I
have
mean,
to tell you, and I think, listening to Mr. Robinson, um, and I'm not just going to say Mr. Robinson, I'm going to say a lot of people that have missing persons in their families. We, Mr. Robinson, help me.
yeah, I was going to answer Mr. Robinson. The days on my podcast is every other Thursday. So last week Thursday was the most recent drop of the episode that I had, and that was on the Missing Persons Day event update.
Yes, I saw
This
that.
yes, next week I
I
will
have to
have
tell you guys, I listen to this podcast every morning. Like, it, listen, you have to listen to Hands Off My podcast. I don't even know how to explain it. Jasmine, when you talked about Kaya, I was like, what? And even though we have, issues in the families, you brought Kaya's mom side of the family and you brought my side of the family or our side of the family where it was
Mhm.
I don't even know how to explain it. You are so spot on, and even though you focus on brown and black and LGBTQ, you focused my sister's interview and you didn't even interview any of us.
Mhm.
You did this on your own and you brought it out to what you wanted it to be, and it was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. And I I've done a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of podcasts. I've talked about Kaya. I but you did the shit. And I thank you so much. I thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for what you did.
It's an honor to hear from. There's times where I'm not able to reach out to family, and I hear the urgency that's required to get a person's story out because I haven't seen that many podcast episodes or any updated information in the media.
Mhm.
But again, I wanted to bring life to the words that were on what MW did. This was her research is phenomenal.
Who is
And
MW?
MW is Mary Weathers. She
Mhm.
they go by MW.
Okay.
And you can actually follow her or them through I believe she has her own YouTube channel. And they also had a podcast, but they're also on Twitter as well. So I can provide the link of information, but
Please
they
do.
are the person to go for such a passion in bringing out life on a page. And like I said, I'm just the voice behind the podcast. But I enjoy and I appreciate people who say, "Hey, I'm willing to help. I got some free time, whichever. I would love you to talk about this person here." And I've noticed that not that many people talk about this
Mhm.
person and it needs to be brought to light.
Right.
So, but I what I usually do is if it's permitted, I just send out some a message to the family on their time whenever they're up for it. I said, "Hey, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm a podcast that will bring awareness to the person that you're looking for or bringing justice for the person, your loved one." So I'm not very pushy.
Yeah.
I'm just out there saying whenever you're ready because I understand the levels of grief, the levels of being voiceless and feeling like you're powerless. I
Hmm.
want to bring a light of power to their voice, and whenever they're ready to take that leap and opportunity, I'm here for them whenever. So,
Jasmine, I don't think you understand how hmm, you are the most amazing woman I have ever met in my entire life. I want you to talk about your story. Um, I don't. I, I want you to talk about your story. Are you okay
okay.
with that?
Wow. Where do I begin? Do you have a particular place that I could?
Listen, I'm gonna find your. Listen, okay. So I'm gonna go on here and I'm gonna look for
Can I give
your.
a couple of shout outs? Because I'm not able to join the chat, but I can see them. Should I give little shout outs to anyone? I
I want you to talk about if they have not listened to your podcast. I want them to understand what you've been through. And I have to say, when I talk about the missing struggle is uh okay, let me see how I can explain it. We are a what's the word I want to say? We're a coalition of family members that have missing people in their family. But we have to talk about we have to talk about all the other facets of missing people, whether it be sex, human and organ trafficking, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be whatever.
Mhm.
And that's why I had to have you on, Jasmine. Like, you are the epitome of sex and human trafficking, domestic violence. And that's why I want you to tell your story. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to give Jasmine Castillo her a chance to talk about what you have gone through because, man, you have given so many people so much what's the word I want to say, so much you've given us power to talk about.
Mhm. That's what I that was my intention. I'm glad that I have like affirmation. That's what I've been wanting to have come across. I'm just a little normal everyday person who's gone through some
No.
sadly
No,
out
no,
of
no.
out of
I'm not even gonna
ordinary.
let you do that. I'm not even gonna let you do that. You are the most strongest woman that I've ever met in my entire life.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it's a it's hard. It's hard, but you have something that needs to be shared, and that should outweigh any other outcome.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to cry. I'm so sorry.
It's
I
okay.
think it's important for you to tell your story, but I don't think you understand how, how important what you're saying is.
Mm.
You're so amazing. You're so strong. And you're telling your story and a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't. And I have to say that I admire you so much for doing that.
Thank
And
you.
I don't know who else is listening to this, but I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do. We can't talk about it,
Mhm. That was
but you're
the
doing it.
mhm. That
And
was
you are the plug.
that, yeah, that was one of the actual strong reasons why I started this podcast. I started seeing an inclination of many voices being cut short and waking up every morning seeing another person gone, another person's life been cut short. And it's always the majority, the disproportionate community of ourselves, the Black and Brown community. And I always I thought to myself, what if I could carry that on? What if I can carry that torch? And that's what makes me keep going every single time I do any type of research on anyone that I it comes across. But if you want me to share my story, I'm not. So,
I want you to talk about your story. I know I think you need to share your story here. I think it's important because there's people that follow our page. There is you need to share your story. I think it's important. What do you think?
yeah, I don't want to be like this, add things that would be already explained on the first episode, but I can probably add on to it.
They
Um,
don't know your episodes. So
well, I'll
you
I'll
know
do
'em.
I'll do a snippet of,
Okay.
and then carry on and as to
Okay.
what kind of led after that. So, um, I know you prepared me for this day, and I'm like I'm still trying to muscle up enough.
You're amazing and you don't even know it.
Oh my gosh. I so a lot of things began to kind of come to light in regards to how my family, that like I mentioned, intergenerational trauma is involved deeply, deeply in the roots. I My parents were divorced when I was at the age of 3 years old. So that being stated, I've never met my father, you know, that I can recall until I was the age of 9. And I was so excited. I was like beyond elated to finally meet my dad. Uh, I remember that day where my mom dropped me off at my, we call her Gram, at my grandmother's house. Because he was in town, he doesn't live in Wisconsin. He lived in Minnesota at the time. So I was just like over the moon. I had in my mind all the things that I've created this person, and I walk in with all this positive ball of joy and excitement and just over the moon to meet my dad for the first time. And so I remember spending some time out and about in the Milwaukee area, just doing what I would have thought would be the normal dad daughter things. And I was so excited. But when it came time to come back, I remember the room completely, like velvet uh wallpaper, dark red wallpaper, and it's straight out of like the 1970s, 1960s. Uh, I slept on the couch that was in my Gram's house, kind of like in the front part of the house. And I was just, I couldn't sleep. I had the hardest time sleeping. Like, oh my gosh, if this is a dream and I wake up and he's gone, like I just kept thinking, like, if I stay up long enough, it'll stay. He'll be here. He'll be here, for me. So I started dozing off on the couch, and I I woke up with my dad being all over, like hovering over me. And my grandmother's room is literally a wall that separates from the living room.
Mm.
So that was the experience that kind of unraveled all the thoughts in my mind as to what being the best day of my life became the worst beginning of my life. Um, he raped me there on the couch, and I was very silent the next morning because he told me not to say anything to anyone. That it was just between me and you, and this is what daughters and fathers do to show their love. Um, when my mother picked me up the next morning, I was completely silent. I literally shut down talking to anyone. I think I didn't. I passed Gram room to go to the kitchen to kind of like avoid her altogether. Like, is this something that I have to accept? And I started through my little mind as a 9-year-old girl thinking, is this what I have to do for the rest of my life?
If this is normal.
Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
Um, so my mother picked me up the next morning, and I kind of gave her like a side smile and my head down. I remember that. And I walked into her car and I just sat there. And she was like, "Oh, did you guys have a great time?" And she kind of looked at me worried. I have a feeling that I'm a very observant child, so
Mm-hmm.
I can feel, I understand people's body language. It's one of the mechanisms that we all learned as being
Mm-hmm.
survivors of abuse.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
We watch people,
Mm-hmm.
we observe their behavior. So I noticed that she kind of had like a worrying face, and she kind of patted my leg and she's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everything's great." Uh, and that was the last time I saw him until my mother decided to marry her second husband. And the second husband was extremely abusive physically, emotionally. And I had to be removed out of the home because he had beaten me with an oak ruler. If you know what an oak ruler is, they used to carve those beautiful, like, little sketches inside the wood of this ruler, or like forest and little deer and stuff like that. And it had a gold plated siding where you do the measurements, was on the side. He whipped me with that. And while he was doing that, he was actually holding my arm. So by the time a couple of days went by, the school noticed my behavior. I was wearing winter clothes in the middle of summer.
That's
And one of the school counselors noticed that, and they brought me in and said, can is there something going on? And I showed them the markings, slashes in my body, my legs, my arms. Um, so they removed me, that same day. And I was 12, I was about 11 or 12 years old at that time. So the only thing that kind of ingrained in my mind at the time is that the closest person that I could think of when the police officer said, "Who would you like to stay with because you have that right?" Being of age in this stature of Wisconsin, you are old enough to choose where
mm-hmm.
you like to reside. So that's where I said I like to live with my dad. Probably
Your dad was the one that.
one of the worst mistakes I've ever done.
Oh my
Because
God.
like I said, as the time went by and I was stewing in that thought from 9 years old, I thought that this was okay. And being already in an abusive environment, coming out of an abusive environment, I'm thinking to myself, what worse can it be from what I just came out of? So I went from one scenario to another.
Right.
And that's how my life kind of progressed or digressed, whatever you want to call it. I went from one abuse scenario to another abuse scenario. And to the point where I was breaking laws, I was getting involved in gangs, I was in drugs, uh, I was sleeping in dope houses, um, watching other women get raped, watching myself get raped multiple times, um, sleeping on the streets. And this is all before I turned 16. So,
16?
yes.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Wow.
And after all that said and done, no charges have been against my dad because
What?
even though they did all the evidence, all the DNA that is conclusive, um, they never charged him.
And,
And
and,
that,
and
yeah, so that was 34 years ago, and I'm still waiting for justice. Yeah, I know it's like mind-boggling the process of it.
and you're old enough to know, and you're old enough to tell somebody that this has happened to you.
Mhm. Yeah,
Man, listen, I've always told you I think that you are the strongest woman that I know. And you always tell me, oh no, Katrina, it's you. No.
it is you. It is you. But thank you. Thank you. It's I
I
appreciate
have
it.
I don't understand how um I don't understand it.
Mhm. That's the system for you.
Yeah.
It's led a lot of not just that story, but other children, black and brown. The system is broken. The judicial system is broken when it comes to finding justice for the people who have been uh, taken their innocence at such a
Mhm.
young age, or just taking something that was theirs that that other person didn't deserve to take from them.
What can we do as black and brown women that have a voice and that will make a voice? What can we do to make them understand that it's not a joke and we're going to fight? What can we do?
There is a lot that anyone who wants to bring more awareness to a situation like that, human trafficking, organ, trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, any type of scenario that the black and brown community has gone through, there is so many ways that we can do it. I myself, I chose to be the podcast warrior on using my voice in this aspect. I don't like to be like on video, but I made the opportunity to be with Katrina because I knew it mattered to both of us to
Agreed.
have this conversation.
Agreed.
So other people can choose to be out in the forefront, being part of a community that does events, creates events, sets up these moments where we can amplify our voice in the public. If they have a connection to, their job has connection to being in the news, like they're a news reporter. I don't know what type of op- occupation that you could have, but if you have an occupation, you should use it to the benefit of not just punching in, punching out. I'm a medical courier at night, and I've always found a way to try to save lives in many ways that I can, even while I'm sleeping. So at night, I'm a third shift. I work third shift. So during the COVID situation, we did a lot, just kind of like a background on what I do. During the COVID, I was a essential worker, so I was one of the ones that were during the such shutdown. I was
Mhm.
out there, you know, transporting blood for emergency transfusions, picking up COVID-19, picking up other biohazard materials, hoping that when it gets to the lab, it's saving a life. So even when I'm, not, podcaster at day, I feel like I'm like those one of those vigilantes, got a cape at night and a cape, drinking coffee in the morning. But that being stated, find your niche, find what you're good at. It might take a while, but use your power for the right reasons, especially for your when you're fighting for something that's plausible, that needs to be, that needs to have a voice too.
Agreed. I'm just looking at you and I'm just like, you are so beautiful.
Oh my god.
You
Thank
are.
it's hard for me with the comp, but thank you.
No, and
Thank you.
I you're so amazing in your story, and you have no idea the what's the word I want to say, the you've taught me so much. You really have. And I think that you speaking about what you went through gives me a lot of like, fuck you, I'm gonna talk about what happened to me.
Right. That's
And
I'm glad. I'm glad. Put a little more
you have no
fluent
idea
into
how you are such a
I'm glad that I'm here for you. We're You get people in your life at the right moment. And I'm glad that I'm here for Katrina. And I'm hopefully, wishing that anyone else who is listening or watching that they get that fuck you,
yeah,
mentality as well, because enough is enough, y'all. This is gone way too long. It's gone for
right,
generations.
right.
And it needs to cease. We need to
I
be
think
heard.
it's important for people to know that we always talk about black and brown people. We always talk about everything, but um I think it's important for you to talk about you. Um are you white?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, I want you to tell the I
Well,
want you to tell the community. I know you're not white.
no.
But I think it's important for you to tell the community exactly what nationality you are.
Okay. Well, I know that I had more of a confirmation. I did a DNA test for, I think it was
You
last year.
did?
Yeah, I did it.
I
I did
didn't
it.
know that.
So there was a episode that I talked directly with one of the many DNA organizations that help you.
Paragon?
Pardon?
Paragon?
Paragon. Yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Parabon. Yes.
Yes.
And we were talking about the Jane and John Doe, and specifically for the St. Louis Jane Doe that still hasn't been identified, and we were talking about that.
Talk about that. Talk about it.
Oh my gosh. So, I don't want to get the date wrong, but it's been over 30 years,
Okay.
30 plus years since she hasn't been identified. This was in I believe in St. Louis, Missouri. I know it is in Missouri. I do apologize if I have it incorrect. This little girl was found in kind of like more like I think it's a abandoned apartment complex that was in kind of like the side of town where um I could be wrong with the city. I do apologize, but St. Louis Jane Doe. I'm not sure exactly what part of the city it was. I apologize, but she was found in the basement, kind of like the lower level of the basement, and she was covered with leaves and a couple of plywood and so forth. Her body.
Shut up.
The thing about it is, her body had no head. She
Shut
was.
up.
That's the reason why they're not able to identify her. She had her arms tied behind her back with a white and red rope, kind of like a twine. She was naked from the bottom, and she was wearing an oversized adult sized sweater. Even though her body was extremely small, she had to be between the ages of like 7 and 9 years old. That's an approximation of how, based on her stature, her development, she was considered prepubescent, which means she didn't even have the development of breasts or
Mm,
even close to that,
mm,
anatomy change.
right.
I There's a whole episode I believe I've done with Parabon, and then I also did with Bird Sosa, who was the person who did a documentary on the St. Louis Jane Doe, and he did, I think, about 4 years of research, going directly to that area, taking pictures, talking to the people who were residing there, who are still living there, who remember that story. And it was so funny. I think there was one of the things that they, I'm not saying it's funny, but
Yeah.
it was crazy how the week that she was found, she was not even on the front page. She was like on the fifth or past that page. I think the front page was something about some other non POC child of something happened,
Of
and
course.
how they're searching for them. But it was like this girl was a, they're identifying her as a black female, and that was uh that was nerve-wracking because the full interview, I'm crying through the whole thing with Bert Sosa when he talked about her story and how it still hasn't been solved. So that being stated, kind of like wrapping it back up, coming back to the front here, I did a DNA test to help with her case. And ironically, I had some type of connection, but
Shut up.
some type of connection. There's one person on my DNA list that has a connection based on their surname.
Ah,
They didn't broadcast that yet, but I believe Bird Sosa did. There's a couple of people who have the last name. I think he has that information.
the Castillo last name?
No, it's
Your black part of your
yeah, the
name? Okay.
going down
You
the
don't have to
tree,
go into
like
it.
a fifth cousin from whatever. I'm like, a small portion of chromosome connection or whatever you want to call it. But coming back to full circle in regards to your question, I found out in my DNA that I have a lot going on there. And I think it has a lot, of course, of being a black and brown. We
Mhm,
have some things that we're like, yeah, that's
mhm.
slavery right
Yep,
there.
absolutely.
But I do have a large portion of um indigenous in my DNA, specifically and ironically in the Texas area, which I just moved down here like 8 years ago. I've never been here before. So
Really?
yes, yes.
Oh my
And I
God, I
have
thought you were born and raised there. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
yes. So and then I have a lot of different countries of African descent.
Okay.
Nigerian, of course, Ghanaian, some other ones I can't think on the top of my head, but I guess if it comes down to it, I have like an Afro-Indigenous kind of a background
Mhm.
in regards to that. So that's what I am. I know there is a couple of just a little portion of French Canadian because there was a lot of indigenous community up there, and I kind of read the story behind it that, and it's interesting because there was a law back then where if a white man settler
Mhm.
got an indigenous person pregnant, they had to marry them.
Mhm.
And that is how my ancestors became, mixed in with the indigenous and French Canadian down the road. But I could probably, I don't want to be like that. Well, my great 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 grandmother was Prince, Pocahontas. No, I'm
Right.
not trying to do that. But I believe my great great grandmother uh, is her father, which would have been my great great. It was previously a chief. I can't remember his name, but I'm still, like I said, this is a journey. It
Yeah.
takes a process. You're talking about 500 years, if you can go that far back. 500 years of just unraveling history.
Mhm. But I think it's important to talk about it because when we talk about great grandparents, that's two generations.
Mhm. Mhm.
And people don't understand that. I remember my great great grandma, beautiful woman. And she taught me a lot. She taught me a lot. But I have to go back to you. I would have never thought in a million years that I would have heard a story like yours and like mine.
Mhm.
And we have so much of the same. I don't even want to talk about that because for me, you talking about you is,
Yeah, that's enough, right?
man, you
It's
are the
enough.
you what do I want to call it? You are the plug. You
Yeah.
are the plug. You are the person that is going to talk about it no matter what. And
Mhm.
I love it.
Thank you.
I don't think we've actually talked about what has happened in your life. So if you want to talk about it,
So I will say that I am tragedy free for about 6 years. Yeah, so I'm very, very elated that I no longer have to carry on with such a burden, such a tie down. It felt like I was in restraints, not just my voice, but my body and my mind. So I don't know what you want me to say. So,
I want
uh,
you to go into any depths that you feel comfortable with. I want you to tell your story like I can't tell your story, you can.
yeah, okay. Well, I could probably start off right at where I left off in, so by the time I came back from my father, the whole court system and so forth at the age of 12, 13, I was put into kind of like, actually, it was more like an outpatient treatment center. They ran all these tests. They found out that I had all these disorders. Of course, a person's going to have a disorder. What do you what do you anticipate? And after all of that, they put me on medication, and then that wasn't working because I'm not a person that needed to be medicated. I was a person that needed to be heard. Medication is like a crutch or a band-aid. You haven't fixed the problem, but you're just gonna go ahead and just cover it up like it's just gonna go away. That's not
It's a
the
cop
way
out.
that's
Mhm.
what was done to me. And by the time that I gone through all of that and I was just completely defiant at home, my mom left me, brought me back home after the whole thing with my dad, and it was nothing but more physical abuse, more emotional, and then it became, I can't say incestual, but it was my step siblings from my mother's husband's, marriage. That the stepfather's children were taking advantage of me in my vulnerability. So during all of that, grades were slipping, of course, and I became more defined. I've had physical fights with my mom. She she actually, like, hid all the knives in the house because I threatened her multiple times, because she wasn't there for me. I was mad. I was angry at the world. No one listened to me. The only way that they could listen to me is through violence. If you want it, you're giving me violence, I'm gonna spew it back to
Mhm.
y'all because that's the only
Agree.
thing you can understand. So
Agree.
that's what I was doing.
Mhm.
I was an angst teenager.
Mhm.
She no longer wanted me to be at the home, so she actually signed over her parental rights to the Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. So,
Your
but
mom?
yes, so I went through the court system as their property. Wherever they wanted to put me is where they want to put me. So I was officially inpatient to a treatment center facility for teenagers. And during that time, I did run away. And I actually ran away with another girl that I lost track of once we were out and about. But that same that same week, I was gone for almost about 5 or 6 days. That same week, they found a girl's body behind the house that I was living in. She was in a dumpster. And
Shut up.
she actually ran away the same around the same time I did. So they
No.
so I was thinking to myself, that would have been me. That would have
Yes.
been me.
Mhm.
So that was a reality check in a sense. But like if one scenario doesn't work for me, I'm gonna find another way. And that's when I started getting involved into more gangs, violence, and that. I was hanging out with a particular gang that's originally from the Illinois area, but they were, they're all in Milwaukee, so they kind of they call Milwaukee, Chicago, downtown Chicago or North Chicago or whichever because it's so much interaction between people who go across the border between
Mhm.
state lines. Um, so I got involved with a guy. He was the leader of the gang, and I was involved in guns, knives, violence, running from cops, dealing with all of that. And there was one instance where this must have been some type of rival against another gang. They beat him in the middle of the street, dragged him, poured gasoline over kerosene over him, and they were about to set him on fire.
Shut
And I guess something happened where they got someone saw it or someone was shouting at them or the cops were around the corner or something happened. They didn't succeed. But that was the kind of life I was living for a couple years. Uh, Once I got into different group homes, I was banned from those group homes because I was assaulting. I'm not going to say allegedly because I was there. I assaulted and I was actually charged with beating up other counselors and staff that were there. Um, to the point where the Milwaukee County actually said, "You are now officially banned from Milwaukee County. We no longer will take you because no one else will take you." Because that's how bad it was. I was beating up officers. I was beating up whoever, any adult authoritarian type of you know I had to deal with. So they actually shipped me because they were going to originally take me to they just built this fairly new prisons or jail specifically for kids, you know, late teens and on up. And they said that I wouldn't be able to leave. I was going to go to jail. So another 4 years, they said I would be in there 3 or 4 years.
What?
Luckily, I had an attorney. I love her. Her name is Susan Davison.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if she's out there still, but I did see her probably 5 years ago. Um,
That's crazy.
she stood in front of the judge and said she doesn't need to be locked up. She needs the care that is required for her to heal. Taking her to jail is going to actually make it worse,
Mhm.
obviously.
Mhm.
Judge doesn't, they don't understand how that works, but. Nonetheless, uh, she was able to convince the judge to have me shipped out of county, still in Wisconsin, up to uh, Menominee, Wisconsin, which had a facility specifically for kids who had the type of background that I was struggling with.
What?
Uh, yeah, so I was there for a while. I actually got, uh, I guess you could say, kind of like an early release because I was going through the program quicker than usual because
Mm,
I finally was able to have the
mhm,
someone listen, someone understand, not medicate me,
mhm,
actually take the time to, sit and wallow in what I've done and how I can become a better person. And right as I was discharged from that facility, I found out that I was pregnant at 17. So I
Oh,
went from so I went from one to another scenario. And I was 18 when I had him. And
that's so cool.
few weeks, actually, was it last week? Last week was his 28th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
Congrats.
uh, it's
Mm,
uh, it's been a journey,
yeah. Yeah.
and after all of that, I was in and out of domestic abusive situations because I still had it ingrained in my mind
Agreed. Absolutely. Mhm,
that this is the only thing that I can be accepted to have
mhm,
as my life because I didn't consider myself worthy enough to have
mhm.
anything better.
Agreed.
And so I was in that constant cycle of thinking, I don't deserve anything else but
Mhm,
this because of
mhm,
what I've done in the past. All
mhm,
the stuff that I did to other people and how I treated other people. I thought that I was being punished for
mhm,
being who I was, knowing that the root of the problem was I wasn't I wasn't being heard and I
mhm,
wasn't given the time to be loved, you know. So
mhm.
you're making me cry. So
And not to.
uh,
Oh my God. What you're saying is like so on point. Like,
yeah,
you're amazing. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad you're talking about it. Um,
thank you for having me for
I
this
want
platform.
I want to I want I want you to have you back, and I want you to you are the plug. You are. I think it's so amazing that you're here. I think it's so amazing that you're talking about you, and I want you so much to have you here. And I it's crazy.
Well, I'm here for you, Katrina. You know that. You know that.
But you have to stop.
No, it's not just about me though. That's
No,
the
it's
thing.
about you.
No, it's
It's
not.
about you, and it's about what you have accomplished in your life, and it's so about you.
Mhm.
It's so about you, and it's so about you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I hate crying, but I always cry.
It's a good cry. It's a good cry.
Yeah,
It's not all crying doesn't always have to be about sorrow, but it's about
agree,
releasing as
agree.
well. So
Whew. You are the plug, Jasmine. Um, and I just want everyone to know that I talk to Jasmine a lot. Um, I do talk about going to going to
different events like the one I think there was
events.
the parent well, anything pretty much. I'm excited to just try to go out there and do it again because especially now that I know Katrina's like I'm game. So I'm
Yeah,
like, let's do this.
I'm
Let's do
on
this.
it. I will go anywhere. I will let my lights turn off to be able to go to whatever we have to do for missing um
Hmm.
persons. And again, I think it's so important that people understand it's not just about um sex and human trafficking. It's not about just domestic violence. It's all the facets of
Hmm.
what we can do as
As a community,
I'm
as a
so sorry.
people who have
I
this.
look at you and I'm like, I heard her. I heard your
If you're able to put the link in there, I'm not able to do to the
right.
chat.
I gotta
Yeah.
find it. I gotta find
So people are like, what is she talking about?
it. Man, y'all are gonna be like, what? Dog, that's the shit. Oh, I gotta find it. I I have it on my phone, but I. So you're gonna have to help me to put it in this, man. And then she's like, I don't even know how to say it. She goes, she says, and that Jasmine was me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, who? What? Huh? Say it again. Say it again. Listen, I just listened to it again before me and Jasmine were on. And I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, and that Jasmine was me. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, dog. Yeah, that's my dog.
I'm gonna send this to you through a message because, like I said, I'm not able to log in through the Facebook on this side, but I'll provide you the link if you want to add it in there.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. You're
She's
going to
like
send it to
this.
me via Facebook?
Well, I don't know how I entered into this StreamYard, but I'm using a different browser. I don't have like the password and stuff like that to get uh,
Man,
into the
listen.
Facebook. But I'll send this to you, and then you can do the honor whenever you are ready.
No, you have to do the honor.
Ah, no.
Man, you guys do not understand how, oh my God, I've never, ever heard a podcast like yours. I have not.
That means a lot. That really does.
Man, look. And then for me to hear you talk about my sister,
Hmm.
who is,
So when I heard, because I MW had sent me a list of all these names of people that she was doing research on, and she's like, "This is the one that I thought that maybe be." And I was like, I've heard of her, but never heard of her. Like I've seen her come across the social media and all that, and I didn't know the depths of the story about Kaya. But when I started reading the information about what MW had found, because she follows your private discussions, your family discussion group,
I don't
and
even
that's
know
where
who
all
MW is, but okay.
yeah, Meriwether's, yeah. So and that's where all the information came from, and I added additional things in there because I wanted to give it a personal touch as to who is Kaya Taylor. And that's when I put in the YouTube clips of her talking about manifestation and all the things. I was just like, I She's such a beautiful spirit. And I was like, I want that in there to say, this is what we need, this is what she deserves. She needs to be seen completely and she needs to be brought home because her life is extremely important for her family to find her, like and to read about how people know in the background what's going on and they're not saying nothing, that that pissed me off even more. I was like, let me put this on blast because I do not like people who have information and they don't say anything about it. That just gets me so riled up. If I could just like go over there and be like, what is wrong with you? If this was your family, if this was your spouse or your significant other, is this how you want them to be treated too? Like you have no respect of life, no understanding and no consideration whatsoever. I was on fire for that cuz like I have to push this forward. That's what really got me going. So, and I'm glad that you were able to hear it because
Man, it was
yeah.
the best I've ever heard on any of any any interviews I've ever done. And when people talk about Kaya, and I will listen to it, I will look at it, and I will critique it a lot.
Mhm.
But you did it. You did it. You did
Thank
it.
you.
And
Thank you.
again, I can't say enough how much I feel like you did it. You did it. You did it more than anything I've ever seen.
Mhm.
But we're not here to talk about Kaya. It's my sister, and um I know a lot of people don't understand, but um when people have family members that are missing, we 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 don't have the dynamics of the family does not um it differs from a lot of what we go through.
Mhm.
um Kaya's mom and me, we had a very close relationship. We don't have it anymore.
Mhm.
And it's because of other family members that have put some things out there that we're just not that close anymore.
Mhm.
um and I don't see anything wrong with it, but at the same time, it's my sister.
Mhm.
um it's our dad. um and I miss my sister. I miss my baby girl, and I know that our sister, our oldest sister, misses her too. Kaya's uh was with our sister before she went missing. The weekend she went uh missing, and yeah, But this is not about Kaya. And I think it's very important that we have to make sure that no matter what, we are educating the public about what's happening to our black and brown women and men, because a lot of black men are missing.
Yes.
And I think it's really important for people to understand that because they don't. But we're gonna do
Mhm.
it. And Jasmine, I thank you so much for being here. I want to talk so much more about what has happened to you. And we have to I think it's important that we have to I'm gonna put I'm gonna put it I gotta find it first, but I'm gonna put it in your comment about what happened to you. And I thank you.
You're
And I
welcome.
try not to cry.
It's okay. Today's the day to cleanse, to unburden yourself, make you feel lighter. This is a good cry. This is a
Yeah.
positive. This is not. It's a combination. Like it's a combination of emotions, but it's worth it. It's needed. It's required. One of the things that I thought that when crying is, it's like I compare it to like Mother Earth when it cleanses itself in rain. The next, after it's done raining, it's everything seems to be more brighter, more glistening, more positive out, positive outlook.
Agreed.
So this is something that you were needing to do, and I thank you for sharing that with me because I haven't cried in a long time. But it's you got me there for a second. And I thank you for having this opportunity to share this moment with you because yeah, this was something we needed to do.
I have to just say that you are so strong as a woman. Um, and I don't even think I could be in your presence as far as you are. Man, you're amazing. I thank you so much. I don't think you share enough of your story, and I want to have you on here again. I want to have you talk to other women that
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want to, let's do it. Let's make some time.
man. I thank you so much,
You're very
and
welcome.
oh my God, I feel. You know what? I'm gonna say this, and a lot of people don't understand it. Um, at me being a black woman, I always thought that a person that was depressed was weak.
Mhm.
I always thought that.
It's not
That's how I was brought up. You're
another
weak.
another thing that we have to undo
Agreed.
that has been taught to us.
Yeah.
That's not healthy. It's okay to it, it's a human reaction to life and its changes and altercations of scenarios that we're not able to prepare ourselves. That's that's something that is considered normal. It's mental health check is a must, especially in the Black and brown community because we were taught that that's something wrong with us if we show or express or talk about our feelings,
Yeah.
and it's not the case.
Sorry. Um. Yeah. Um.
I push for mental health a lot, a lot, and I've talked to Black men who say that that was something they were taught. Don't Something that they were taught because men don't cry, men don't show their feelings, men don't appear to be weak
Right.
because if that shows vulnerability, that shows
Mhm.
weakness or whichever. And that's something we were taught that it's not okay to show your feelings. It'll come across as we're aggressive people
Mhm.
or we're intimidating. Um, we and that's the whole analogy of the angry Black woman scenario.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's it.
the perception of society sees Black and brown community as a threat,
Mhm.
and that shouldn't be the case. That's far from what we are trying to come across. It's we're human.
Mhm.
We share our feelings differently, but yet if it comes down to everything, we're all human. We have ups and downs, we have depression, we have struggles. When you start separating all this and trying to overanalyze something, you picking at it, it's you watering down and diluting us as a person.
Agreed.
It's something that we need to start doing for ourselves because we were taught to say, well, we're less than another person because of our
Right.
or how we
Right.
were brought up. And that's something that we need to stop that cycle.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think it's important for us to push that again because let's see, I'll be 51 at the end of this month, and I, as a kid, as a young adult, I never ever thought that. Well, I did think that being being depressed was a sign of weakness,
Mhm.
and as Black women or as Black men, oh no, we can't show weakness. We can't do that. That's not us. We have to be strong. We have to show everybody that we. But again,
Yeah.
I did not see it until I was like, what? My dad died. My cousin died. My dad died. My uncle died. Like I was like, what?
Mm.
I want to die too. Let me go with them.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm not ashamed to say that to anybody. I'm not. I'm not.
That's a true response in regards
Mhm.
to losing someone so close to you that it feels like your heart's been ripped out of you. Might as well take the rest of you if you're gonna take the most important part of you
Agreed.
away from yourself.
Agreed.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
And then for me to lose my mom when I was 11 and then
Mm,
my dad, it was crazy. It was crazy. But for me again to to listen to your story and how you were so like forthcoming with it, and man, you don't even understand. I look up to you so much. because you are the plug. You are the person that says, I don't care who hears it. This is what happened to me, and I'm going to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. It's a I don't give a fuck kind of
Right.
situation.
Right. And I
I
love
don't give a
it.
fuck. This is my life. I'm finally taking charge. I finally have control of my life,
Right.
my autonomy, what happens to me. Because as a child and as a person who was in relationships, everybody else had control of me and my body and my mind. It
Yes.
was my time to say, fuck you,
All right.
you know,
I'm going to
or
do me.
yeah, or I don't give a
Mhm.
fuck what you think because
Mhm.
this is my story. You can't dilute it, you can't erase it.
Mhm.
And this is how I think about when I have my voice on recording or when I talk with families. They'll try every way possible to eliminate you from the equation, but they can never eliminate your voice that has been heard across the world. You know, that
Mhm.
carries on with you. You know, that carries on with all the people who've actually gathered together to listen to your story. And yeah, that's it's forever.
I love
It's
you.
like stardust, stardust forever.
Absolutely. Man, you are the most amazing woman I have ever met in my entire life. You have done you have done so much for the black and brown community and the LGBTQ plus. Man, you are the plug. For real. And I'm telling you, anytime I I I have any questions about anything, I will definitely reach out to you because I know you are the one. You're the one. You're the one. If
Absolutely.
you can sit here and talk about your story and what happened to you, you are the plug.
Just let me know when you like me to come back. I love talking with you.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. Like, man, we need to talk about a lot
Mhm. A
on
lot of
the
subjects.
man, um Hillsborough
Oh, yeah,
County
Hillsborough County.
County Sheriff's Office where
Oh,
my
Lord. Reading up on them, I'm like, they sound as bad as
man,
Hunt County Sheriff, not the Hunt County, but the Harris County, all the things that are going on in San Antonio. That's it sounds like the same, like they were cookie came from the same cookie cut of
yes, yes,
officers out
yes.
there.
Mhm.
And the interesting, like, kinda do, like, a spoiler alert, the next episode that's gonna be dropping next week, Thursday,
I'm
talks about
excited.
talks about human trafficking and law enforcement, so keep your
Stop
ears to
it.
the ground. Yes. I had the privilege of talking to a gentleman who started a nonprofit private intelligence organization. So something that we are like, yeah, I'm so glad I have this because this is something that will be almost like a fire for our torch because this is going to be extremely helpful for a lot of people who listen in, a lot of people. So I'm so excited. And yes, David Robinson, I know
Yes.
you are in line. Um,
I love him. I
yes,
I don't care what nobody says. I'm gonna tell everybody that's my dog.
yes,
I
he is.
love
He
him
is
because
amazing.
he goes so hard
Love
for his
speaking with
son.
him. Love speaking with
Man.
him. If I could have talked more, believe me. Uh, but you are in line. I promise you. Like I said, I think I even said
He
before our
is the plug
recording.
too.
Yeah,
He's the plug too.
before our recording here on the stream here, I mentioned
Yes.
to Katrina that I am a one woman band, you know. Please be patient. I work third shift. I try to get in my stuff when I can, well, in between my sleep. So I thank you for everyone's patience, and I am thankful that y'all are listening to it. And if you're not, uh
They will.
you should listen to Katrina's advice. So um, but yeah, it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for turning me on to other persons that I could speak to with specifically David. So it was an honor to speak with both of y'all within
Man.
the same month.
Look,
So
Mr. Robinson, you need to go to sleep. Because we're gonna talk about you. Just to
uh-oh.
let you know.
All good things,
Man,
of course.
I I listened to his lives. I he's
You're
good.
welcome. You're welcome, Mr. Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really, really good, and I've learned so much from him. I really have. And for the missing struggle, we're going to continue to follow in his footsteps because, again, he has taught me so much, and
Mhm.
I appreciate him. Yeah, I appreciate him so much. And again, you know what? I look, look what he says.
I know, I see that.
Like, what? How can we inspire you? You are the plug.
I feel like we're in like a Tupperware party. We're exchanging our Tupperwares of knowledge to each other. Be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm done with this one. You want this one too?
Right, right, right. Like, he is it. We have to learn from you, Mr. Robinson. Like,
Hmm.
you have no idea. We want to learn from you. For me, I follow you. Um,
Hmm.
I'm sitting here looking at you, Jasmine, and it's like, you're so beautiful, first of all. And second of all,
I was gonna use that because I was going through the options that you have here, and I was thinking maybe I should use that enhancement of my appearance. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna use it.
oh my God, you're beautiful. What do you
And
mean?
here I'm sweating.
No, you're
Oh my
absolutely
gosh.
gorgeous. Absolutely
Oh.
gorgeous. I just want everyone to know that what you went through and and for you to actually be able to share it with no holds barred,
Mhm.
dog, listen. I, I envy
Um,
you with your strength.
mm.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I have a lot to thank my wife because she's been my rock.
Oh,
I have been on this healing journey, and she has been with me throughout the time, and it's something that I had to unwire my mind. Like, I don't deserve anything other than what I'm going through. And I was like, you know what? I was not, I, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. This is what I deserve, and I deserve better
right.
scenario. And um, our wedding is actually on the 21st, our first year
Stop
anniversary.
it.
So, yeah.
In
So,
Texas,
yeah.
I'm
So,
there.
no, first.
I am there. I want to come. Oh my God, that's
Yeah. So
amazing.
she's been my rock and
Oh, that's so
been
sweet.
amazing. Like, my life
Oh,
is so much better, even though my mother was completely against same sex.
Mhm.
She didn't even attend. Um, my own biological, I didn't anticipate to, have her there, but it was just a thought that counts. Thank you, David. Um, it was a thought that counts. Like my own mother. The
Right.
only, the only mother that I have on this earth that's officially biologically
Mhm.
connected to me would not
Mhm.
attend.
That's okay.
Um,
That's
that's
okay.
okay. I had
You
everyone
got
there
us.
that really meant to be part of my life, and I don't need that negativity.
Mhm.
Um, but this was to me, this would have been a sense for my mother and I to have a kind of a reconnecting
Mhm.
relationship, knowing that we've had, as I mentioned, a very rocky, unstable, dysfunctional
Mhm.
connection.
Mhm.
This would have been an opportunity to kind of clean slate
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
That didn't happen, but that's okay. I'm gonna move on. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like I'm gonna the what do you call it? Sideswipe that person out of my way
Mhm.
and keep moving forward. So
Yes.
whenever she's
Well,
ready
you have
is when
people
she's
there that
ready.
are gonna. Oh, I'm excited. I am there. I am so there. All you gotta do is tell me the date and the time. There. I think that's so amazing because we have to have that. We have to have that. We have to have it.
Mhm.
We oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, it's just the anniversary. I mean, we it's you but we did move recently, so we're trying to think of a housewarming slash anniversary kind of a thing. But yeah, I'll give you the details if you're interested. I don't know.
Yes. Everybody's gonna be at your house.
Oh no. Hangover 3.
Oh, that's so amazing. I think that's so amazing and
Yeah.
absolutely. I know I'm in Indianapolis, but again, I will travel anywhere. And oh, look at Mr. Robinson.
I know. Whoop, whoop.
I will go anywhere to be.
I
Oh, that's so
I would
sweet.
say if we could I would love to have you here, or if I can meet up with you and do some good stuff like conquering the world and amplifying voices like superheroes or something like that.
I'm
Because
down.
you need a cape. I got a cape back here somewhere that's got Katrina's name on it. And, you need to make it to good use.
I'm
So
down. Again, I will go anywhere on this earth to make sure that people understand that we're out here.
Mhm.
I'm so down. All you gotta
Yeah.
do is say it, and I'm there. It
Yes,
might
ma'am.
take me a little while because I have to, get the money right, but I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm trying to save up for my Castillo Foundation, my funds too. So, after going to the missing person event, it kind of depleted my funds that I've been saving on the side because it's I don't get the monetary monetization on YouTube or on my podcast, and that's for a reason. I purposely have my podcast and YouTube channel non-monetized. Uh, so everything that I do, I put out my money is from working third shift and putting in extra hours to put the money to the side to get these events because um, I don't like asking people for money and to ask people who are going through grief and
Absolutely.
losing a lost loved one, finding there have their why would I? To me, it's like you're taking
Mhm, mhm,
someone
mhm,
grief
mhm,
as a monetization
mhm.
uh, direction, and I see that as immoral.
Agreed. So
So,
agreed. And I
but
have 3 missing people in my family,
mm,
and I never wanna ask for help, ever, ever. But for
mhm,
me, I want to give to those that have that 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 problem that I have, you know? Um,
But
And
I think that I for you, your perspective, I would hand over fist, give you as much as I can, uh, because your family is the reason why I'm, and amongst all the others that I've encountered, it's coming to is going to a good cause.
mhm, mhm.
I'm just a podcaster that's just amplifying that, and
Oh no. No,
I don't,
no, 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 no. Stop.
I,
Not just
I'm
a
not a
podcast.
position,
No.
I'm not in a position to be like, you know, taking money from people. I'm supposed to be helping in many ways as possible to help, bring justice to the people
But
that.
you are. You went through what so many of us have gone through, and you're talking about your story, and you're no, 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 no. Sorry, but not sorry. No, you're doing an absolutely amazing job. You,
I think David is asking me about the 501. When I say the Castillo Foundation, I should just say my Castillo fundraising, in my mind, in my bank account, that's my Castillo funds. No, I don't have a 501c3 or an LLC. I am working on trying to get an LLC because I wanted to expand on, more above and beyond. But that's the future goals. It's a long term, short term scenario, but I'm just talking me personally. My my personal account is the Castillo Foundation. So, but thank you for asking, David.
I totally feel that. And I think Mr. Robinson knows that as well. Like a lot of people that don't have 501c3s, we put our own money into that. Um and again, um no matter uh whether we're doing events, whether we're attending events, whether we're, trying to, and him too, you'll
Mhm.
get there fast.
Oh yeah,
um,
absolutely.
and no matter what we do, whether we're putting out those um flyers for our missing family members, it's
That's
all
me.
done because of us.
Right.
And that's why I just love you so much. Like you are sharing what we as women, and you know what's the word I want to say? No disrespect to you, Mr. Robinson, but you will never understand what we as women have gone through
Yeah.
in
That
our own families.
that goes on different levels. Just briefly talking about mental health for men and women,
Mhm,
it's different tiers and different situations that we go through because of our, you know, gender and our culture and our diversity and how we were brought up, etc. So one person's pain could be completely different perspective of another person's pain, but you can't say, well, I can't compare
mhm.
the pain of someone else and say, oh yeah, I understand what you're going through. No, you
No.
can kind of comprehend and feel it and see it through in my eyes when I explain something, such tragedy that has occurred in my life. But be there for me,
Mhm,
support me under, that's the least that you can do.
mhm.
But to say I can you never compare someone else's pain, and I completely get it. Yeah, and women, it's a whole other level. Just like men, it's a whole nother level. I'll never understand.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
but we support
Mhm.
nonetheless. So,
Man, listen, you are the most amazing woman that I've ever spoken to. You are the most amazing person that I've ever interviewed on the Mrs. Struggle at all.
Thank
I've
you.
never
It's an
met,
honor.
no, no, like for real. I've never met anyone like you. I haven't.
Sometimes I think that I'm from a different dimension, different galaxy,
Mhm.
different
And
planet.
that may be, but I have never spoke to anyone, and I'm just gonna let the audience know I talk to Jasmine a lot.
Hmm. Like
I'll
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm
yeah.
working. It's okay because I respond quicker at that time. And don't give me at 4:45 p.m. Like
Right. I'll be like, listen,
not
I
gonna claim
listen
any
to
names or anything.
yeah. I'm like, I listened to this podcast and I want to know what is the update. And she's like, there's none. But
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that because that's what we do as people of color. That's what we do as we want to know what's going on, you know. Um, and I did ask Jasmine. I said, even though she did this um, podcast regarding my sister, and she actually talked to, well, she brought. Let me see how can I say it. She she talked about my sister's black side of the family. She also brought in perspective their uh damn, I don't know how to say it. Can you help me, Jasmine? Um
A lot of it had to do with there's a lot of, like, I even mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of moving parts going on in this story, but every moving part has a specific, you know, position in where the story, how they lay out, and everybody's perspective kind of collaborated in the story. The part 1 and 2, there's a lot of people involved, but then there's a lot of people not involved.
mhm,
And when I say that is that there's a lot of people involved in the middle part and at the beginning, but there's very little people involved in the ending part where to find her, to bring her home, to speak out their voices and contact the proper authorities or contact the family about information and tips.
mhm,
So different perspectives of people who were involved in the situation before, during, and lacking of after, which is what I wanted to kind of amplify and bring closer to all the listeners to understand that this story is not over yet.
mhm,
Her
mhm,
story is not complete.
mhm,
What the family is wanting at the end is to bring closure, bring her home, find some type of, hopefully, my wish and my hope is that it's a continuation story of Kaya,
mhm,
a story that I would love to see, love to share because the outcome was beautiful and that overjoyed that the outcome was something that I hope for everyone
mhm,
and that it came true.
mhm.
Um, so,
You did an amazing job. And for me, I thought it was very important because, a lot of people say um they listen to Kaya's mom side of the family and then they don't listen to our side of the family.
Hmm.
I don't know why. It doesn't even matter why. But you did that on all levels.
Hmm. That's
No
what I
one's
wanted.
no one's ever done that. N- And I thank you for that.
Mm.
Um
Thank
Kaya
you.
was I feel like she was a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Um I also think that her boyfriend trafficked her.
Mm.
Um, but that's just my that's just what I think.
Mhm.
But I always try and talk about everyone else. I don't want this podcast or this interview to ever be about just Kaya. I For me it's very important to make sure that um we have to let everyone know how what's the word I want to say? Um Help me, Jasmine. I, it's important that we educate the public on what's going on with missing people. And it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be just with, oh, they ran away or they have done this or that. It's
Yeah.
people are missing.
You felt my vibes. Like I was feeding you that, like I was nodding because I was like, I'm just giving you some, encouragement. Like you can do it. You can do it. I knew it. You spot on the right words. That
Oh,
it's okay
stop
to.
it, Jasmine. I need
I'm
help.
here. We're here to lift each other up. This is not a one
I
way street.
know, but you are very good at speaking. I am not.
At least someone can agree on that. I'm thinking to myself, thanks, thank you, thank you. It's still a process for me.
I still have to like I'm like, okay, what I need to say. What do yeah.
I think David could probably respond saying, "I was literally all giddy and doing a lot of ums in our interview." He probably thought I
I do
was
that
just
too.
like, s- even though I'm so prepared, I think I over prepare, and then I'm like, I get all giddy and just like starstruck or like
Agreed.
the deer in the
Agreed.
headlight look thing or whatever. So
Listen, I don't know how many times I've told him or I talk about Mr. Robinson a lot. I think I need to stop doing that. Um, but I love Ja Rule. Have you ever heard of Ja Rule?
mhm.
I love Ja Rule. I'm like, oh my God, Mr. Robinson is my Ja Rule.
There you go.
I'm like, oh my God, I need to stop. I need to stop that. I need to. I know he probably laughs at me a lot, and he's like, "Yeah, Katrina's crazy." Yeah, I
My kids say the same, like, "Mom, I think you're something." They'll say something like, "Yeah, well, I'm already crazy, so it's
am. Right?
the point is that, just if you want to join me, it's all up to you. But I'm already been on this side for quite some time, so you guys figure it out, dude. Figure it out."
That is so funny.
Been there, done
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah. Like they say, been there, done that, won't take you back on a bus transfer because I know they don't
Right,
like
right.
it. You know what I mean? Your transfer expired.
Oh my gosh.
Expired.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I'm sorry. I thank you for being here. I thank you for sharing your story. Um I I I want to push your story so much in the regards to I want to share my story just
Mhm.
hearing your story.
Yes, please. Please, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You will not know. You'll feel, oh my gosh. It's like you will step into another realm of clarity and
Mm.
nirvana, enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it. It's a lighthouse. You know,
Wow.
it's the something that to each their own has this particular feeling of weightlessness.
Mm, mm.
You'll sleep better. Believe me, your mind, your body, and if you believe in, spiritual side and all that, your spirit will feel lighter. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
feels good.
can so yeah, I can get that. I can
Mhm. Do it, do it, do
right.
it.
Oh my gosh. Jasmine, you are the most I love talking to you. I love you sharing your story. Man, you are the most wonderful woman that I've ever spoken to on this on the interview ever. And I thank
Mhm.
you so much. You're an amazing woman. Absolutely amazing.
So I thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. I Let's do this again for sure, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. Thank you again. All right, guys. What time is it? Oh my god, it's way past my bedtime.
Oh my.
It's 9 o'clock, and yeah, I'm usually asleep by 8:30, 9 o'clock. But
Mm.
again, Jasmine, man, I've never met anyone like you. Oh my god. Look.
Well, who's talking to who? Like,
Right?
when you tell me he's supposed to be going to bed?
Right?
Go to bed, Mr. Robinson. You need your beauty
I
rest.
know he's got so many people that he's interviewing too.
Yes. And I'm starting work in about 45 minutes too. So
What?
yeah, I work night shift. So
That's right. I forgot. Look,
those is a good start for my evening. Like I got all the beauty rest that I could fit into my day. So
man,
it is what it is, right? And it was worth it because I get to speak to beautiful, wonderful souls and people, and the chats, people are blowing, specifically Mr. Robinson's blowing it up. Loving it, loving it. Thank you so much for having me
oh my
here.
gosh. I think you are the listen again. I've talked to a lot of people on the interviews, and you are amazing. And I don't want you to ever underestimate yourself. I don't want you to think that there's not people that feel the exact same way and that look up to you because you have done so much. And a lot of us, and myself included, um, you have done so much put to put this out in the open. And some of us are not as we're not we don't we don't We don't have that audacity that you have.
Mm.
But listen, I don't care if I have to call you tomorrow. I don't care if we listen. You are the shit.
Well, I bled on the shit. I appreciate it. I
Yes,
mean,
you
am
are.
I that freshly laid down shit on the grass, or am I that crusty white one? It all depends, right? That's good.
Man, look, you are it. I'm so excited that I have your phone number. I'm so excited that
Yeah,
I can call you and I
yeah.
can talk to you about whatever. And you're like, yeah, Katrina, or no, Katrina, you are the shit. And I love it, honestly. So my next question is, do you speak Spanish?
I didn't have the honor of speaking or being taught.
You
At,
don't, or you did?
I do not,
Okay.
not fluently. I understand Puerto Rican and Mexican dialect,
Hmm.
but you had to speak to me like tranquilo, like
Hmm.
slowly as
Hmm.
possible.
Yeah.
I can read it right off the book,
Hmm.
like as if I've been doing it forever and a day. However, I am not fluent, sad enough to say, but that is one of the things that I wanted to improve on because that's something that's in dire need
Hmm.
for our culture
Absolutely.
because it's going to, as an example of indigenous languages and tongues, there's a lot being lost in the culture and the history because of a language being lost by the last speakers. I know that we're not at that point
Hmm.
in the Mexican culture, even though that is also indigenous.
Hmm.
There is so many dialects of language
Hmm.
that are being lost every single year,
Hmm.
and I want to be part of continuing on that culture, that tradition of speaking the native language. So
Hmm.
that's my goal. Hopefully, someone out there can give me some free lessons. It's gonna
Oh
only
no, we will learn it
3.99.
together, me and you. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
my kids are Mexican. They're Mexican, black and white, tricolored. How do you do that? But anyways, we're gonna learn it together, and we will speak it, and we will do it. And Fidencio, listen, Fidencio, I love Fidencio, and he better be glad that he has a girlfriend or wife or whatever. So,
Significant. Yes.
so Fidencio was one of our was one of our people that started the Missing Struggle. His daughter, um, Veronica Reyes Diaz, that you also did a a podcast on.
Mhm.
Do you remember her?
That name sounds so familiar.
So
Yeah.
Veronica went missing 3 weeks before Kaya did, 6 miles away from where her car was found. And um, I love Fidencio. I love Fidencio. Me and Kaya's dad died in 2019,
Mhm.
and I felt like if you can think of a dad, a father that has had his daughter missing,
Mhm.
that's crazy, and that hurts a lot. Um, and that's how I feel the same way about Mr. Robinson. Like, uh, males, men, um, are they they are the type of people that want to protect. their family members. We as women are very um what's the word I want to say? We help me out. Help me out. We're the type
So,
we're women. We feel with our hearts.
mhm,
Um Men are the type of people that want to protect.
mhm. We have different levels of protection. We protect, yeah, exactly, nurturing.
Yeah.
We have the nurturing perspective
Mhm.
of raising our children, and the fathers have the nurturing, like preparing them for the outside world, you know. Yes, he spelled it wrong. That's, no, you did it. Nurturing is correct. Um, we work from the inside out,
Mhm.
and fathers work from the outside in. They
Mhm.
protect us as an armor, but we have our own way of shielding ourselves with our hearts. So we have ways of, as parents, to protect our kids, 300 and 380 degrees. So
Mhm.
380, 360. I think it's yeah. We're all sleepy, but
Yeah, yeah. I'm starting to get there. I'm usually like in the bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we're like, but I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you took the time,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
I cannot thank you enough for
You're very welcome.
what you've gone through, and for you um actually sharing what you went through. And you are the plug. And I love you for it.
Yeah, that's gonna be my new nick. I'm gonna change my middle name as the plug.
Plug.
It's it's gonna stick with me now. So all for the good reasons, of course. So
Right, right. You're amazing, and I thank you so much for being here, and I thank you for everything that you're doing. I love hands off my pocket. But I have to ask you, where did that come from?
I'm glad you asked that. I That was created. Uh, so there is a story. I know. So there's a story, of course, that with the understanding of hands can hurt or heal.
Mm.
And in this perspective, this podcast is hands that hurt. So when you put your hands on my friend, if you put hands on my sister, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, a loved one, I want you to take hands off of my and bring them home to me. So hands off my podcast, hands off my brother, hands off my sister, my
Oh my
mother.
God, that's
So I
amazing.
know it gives me chills just thinking like that's why I created that way.
Wow.
Hands off my podcast, because the people I talk to on the episodes, I want you to take hands off of them, and whatever harm you're doing to these people, to these loved ones, I want you to bring them home. I want to get justice for them. I want closure for these families. So
That's amazing. I love that. Oh, oh, and look, me and Mr. Robinson are saying the
like,
same thing. I
yes,
love that.
love it.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wow. That is, listen, even Fidencio, like, he said, that's great. Hands off my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, man, man. And I always thought, I was like, oh, well, maybe she's saying, yeah, don't talk about it on podcast.
Yeah. No. No, no. That's the
I
whole
love
reason.
it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Thank you.
I, honestly, I don't think that we have spent enough time on you. Um, I really don't. I don't think that people know you for who you are and what you've gone through. Um, how long have we been on for 2 fucking hours?
Almost 2.5.
Wow. We have to have you back on.
Yeah, for sure. For
Man.
sure.
So the next interview is actually scheduled for my birthday. And I'm not gonna be
Mm.
on here. I'm going to Florida. And I don't even like Florida.
I was thinking if you were closer. Like, is Indianapolis closer or Florida's closer?
To you?
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's about the same trip, kind of, sort of.
I don't even know. And I don't even like Florida. But
Yeah,
I'm going to Florida
yeah.
for my birthday. I miss the beaches.
So sorry to hear that.
That's all I miss.
That's all you. We
That
have beaches here in Texas. Come on now. We have beaches here in Texas.
yeah, but y'all have those no seams.
Oh yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You're
No.
right about that. Now
Mm-mm.
we got these like weird. They look like mosquitoes, but they call them.
No seams.
No, they're larger than that. They're like they
See,
look.
that's what I'm talking about. No, dog. No, no, no.
They're like about this big with their legs.
What?
Yeah,
See,
they're.
that's the shit I don't want.
Yeah, don't come here. If you want to look like you've been like had like some allergic reaction to shellfish,
No, no, no,
don't come
no,
here
no, no.
because these things will bite you up. Be like, ooh, there's some new stuff right here, new
I
skin. I
am
haven't seen
not
this
spending
before.
my money to go there to get bit up. Fuck that. I'm not.
Oh my god. Well, enjoy, make memories, have
Yes.
fun at the
You
beach.
know what? Every time I think about Florida, I never want to go there. But it's my birthday and I miss the beaches. So I
Mhm.
am definitely going to St. Pete, Clearwater.
There you go. I went to I think it was a Pompano Beach,
Pompano.
Pompano, Pompano. I should say it the proper way.
It's
Yeah.
okay. We got you. We got you.
You know. I watered it down, but the I went there. It was so beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. 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 I'm so excited. It's
Well, have fun.
listen.
Have fun.
Well, I'm coming to get you. We're going together. You and your wife.
You gotta
Hey, let's go.
bring a huge suitcase like with the wheels so I can, come along. Telling you.
Right? I'm so ready. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it. So what
Man,
is your
listen,
birthday?
March 28th. I'm a
Oh.
straight Aries all day.
Oh.
Aries Nation.
There you go. I'm a Sagittarius, so yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Why? No. I think that, like, yeah. Well, there's times like I
Look
think
at
I
you.
mentioned
I
like
love you. Look at you. You're like, yeah, maybe,
maybe
yeah.
not so much now that you know I'm a Sagittarius. I'm telling you, like I was just mentioning to like I can go from one to the other depending on how if you're messing with my kids, my family, whatever. Mm-mm. This pretty face is not gonna be
Right?
pretty anymore.
Don't let
Let-
the light skin fool you.
yeah, don't let the
Okay? Because
cuteness.
we will get down.
Yeah, I think it's with everybody. But
Right. Agreed.
have you ever
Agreed.
done like the Myers-Briggs test
No.
where they? I think even David, if he's still on here, the Myers-Briggs test.
I never
Um,
heard of that.
tells you that was something that they taught us when we were younger, being a Gen X. There was one test that we took between graduating from high school or in college where we would where our career path would be aligned with our I guess our personality. It's like a
Uh-huh.
personality test.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like the rarest combination of the personality. It's so weird. I'm Sagittarius. I was supposed to have been born on Thanksgiving, but I was like almost over 3 weeks late. But
Wow.
back then, they didn't consider it emergency unless there was some
Mhm.
type of health purpose of,
Right.
deducing, inducing the pregnancy.
Right.
But I am an INFJ, which is the rarest female personality in the world. We are the most complex. When I was going to getting prepared for the military and I had a psych evaluation, the doctor said I was an enigma because that's how complex I am. I'm weird all around. It's just the weirdest thing
What?
ever. Yeah, so look it up, INFJ, or just say Meyer Briggs personality test. A lot of people used to use that back in the 90s and way back when. So
What? That's crazy.
and come to find out, when I did this test, they said the best career that would go along line with my personality at the time when I did it, when I was like 20 years old, they said I would be a tank gunner. So I would be on the top
A
where
tank
the
gunner.
the tanks for military.
Right,
I
right.
would have been the gunner on the top of that. That
No,
was back
somebody.
then.
Are you serious?
That was back then. Like something that nobody knows
Stop.
about. Like I would have been that, or
Oh my God.
or a veterinarian, something like that of that effect. And I'm like, I don't know what's
That
going
is
on with
so
this
funny.
one. But yeah,
Oh my gosh.
just a little
Wow.
nugget of information that nobody really gives a shit about. But I just wanted to share it with you. Anyway,
That's so
so
crazy. You know what? I want to meet your wife.
she is not a very social media. Well, unless you can come in here in
And I was
person,
gonna say that.
she's not a
I
very
can
social
tell that
media.
because you are a very social person, and you know uh, even back in 2022, and I'm looking at your podcast, and I don't see her, I'm not hearing her, and I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
she has a very personal, personal, discreet. She's very discreet. She doesn't have a social media account. She doesn't do any of that.
Oh, okay.
I actually just the only reason why I kind of got into the social media, social spotlights because of the podcast. And I was before I got into podcasting, I was a voiceover artist. So I
Oh,
did, yeah, another nugget of information that nobody gives a shit about. No, I was kidding.
yeah,
But
we do.
that
Yeah.
was my side hustle, I guess, right around the time of when the COVID shutdown hit. I was like, I need money, dude. Like this is
Mhm.
crazy. And that was the opportunity of trying to have a job remotely.
Mm.
And ironically, because all through my life, people kept saying, "God, I love your voice. You have such a
Right.
beautiful, like,
Mhm.
I can listen to it for hours and all
Agree.
this." And I just kept like blowing them off, like, "Yeah, whatever. Like, what are you talking
No,
about?"
no.
So then I started doing like little clips of like commercials, and I started doing animation voices. I did a couple like I did I would go into Discord, and I was hooked up with some couple groups that did like free recordings of their voices. They would apply them to different opportunities just to get their name on the
Mhm,
screen. And
mhm.
I did a couple of voices I did Storm for the like a video game. I did a
Oh,
wrestling,
wow.
like a WWE wrestling character. I actually did Black Panther. I did the sister of, the
Shut
Black
the
Panther.
hell up.
Yeah, so I did all of that. I was just like
Oh my God.
oh, Dave was asking for what branch. I'm so sorry. It was,
Oh, I'm
the
sorry. Yeah,
US
I'm like not even looking at that. I'm sitting here listening to you like, are you serious?
US Army, Mr.
Oh
Robertson.
my gosh.
So
That's
it was just like
crazy.
so I did, like, little kid characters for commercials, because you have to, like, take your voice a little bit higher and but
Mm-hmm.
you have to do all these, like and I have, like, I would do, like, a British because I was raised in England, so I can kinda switch
Right.
over that.
Mhm.
But, there was just a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," I was trying to find my niche in regards to who wanted me. Come to find out, a lot of the my voice was probably good for, like, health medical books because it'll keep them from not falling asleep, and I was like, "You know what? I should do that." So, um, unfortunately, life got ahead of me, and I kinda put it to the side, and I took up this opportunity to use my voice for, a better cause in doing the true crime podcasting.
So,
So
so mm, do you feel like what you've done with your podcast as far as true crime is not, you don't feel like it's more, you don't feel like what you've done?
helps.
Yeah, because you do. If you don't feel it, I'm letting you know that you do. Again, I've never found anyone that has done my sister's case as much as you have.
Mhm,
And in the in the realm where in the realm where what's the word I want to say? You you took both sides. You took her dad's side of the family and you took the mom side of the family. And I think that has a lot to do with what you are. Of course, you're biracial and
mhm.
you understand what it is to go through that.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. The whole point of, like Kaya had her story was, like, it had a lot of similarities of what I've encountered,
Mhm.
through
Mm,
life being a biracial child. Um, when she was being called out of her name,
mm,
being disrespected in who she was. Uh, there was just so many times that I've been called the N-word, and I'm I was just baffled as to how anyone could be brought up that way to hate someone based on their color.
mhm.
At a young age too, I think I was 5 years old when I got the first word thrown at me, and it was in Wisconsin, so I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
who's the racist motherfuckers now?" Like, everybody talks about the southern states
Mhm.
but it's
Mhm.
southern states are in your face and honest,
Mhm.
and they don't hold back how they feel about you in your face
Mhm.
versus in the Midwestern states, they'll do it
Mhm.
behind your back,
Yeah.
and they'll smile in your face.
Mhm.
Um, but this
Agreed.
was like a school, you know, of all places or whatever, so it's, so when I was reading on her story, it just hit a lot of things that I know a lot of biracial children have gone through, not feeling like they're part of any group. Um, in the Mexican side of my family, I'm too dark to be Mexican.
Say it.
In the black side of
Again.
family, I'm too high yellow, I got the good hair,
Oh my
handsome,
God.
attractive.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
I got
Mhm.
the best of both worlds because,
Mhm.
you know, it's something we have to navigate and evolve and create our own space, our safe space, and allowing us to grow in a healthier, kind of place in our surroundings. Like the people in our lives, they need to be positive. They don't need to be like those friends who are,
Mhm.
I think there's like those, they're like that everywhere, but they'll be all like in your face,
Mhm.
talking down on you, gaslighting relationships and ghosting, scenarios. That's harmful. I mean, that goes right back to your mental health. You don't need that. So,
Listen, I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear me so good. I love you. I have done so many interviews, and I have not ever had an interview where I feel like I, that I feel it emotionally.
mhm,
Man, you're amazing. I, I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna say it. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome. I
I,
was here at the right time. I know you needed this.
and you know what? The thing is, I feel like God does not put anything on you until you're ready to hear it, feel it, all that.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
yeah, he brought you to me at a absolutely amazing time.
mhm.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Thank you.
You are
Thank
so
you.
amazing. And I'm so ready to do this with you.
Yeah,
Listen,
let's do it.
right? I'm ready. I am so ready. Um, man, let's do it. Let's do it. You,
We can
you're
definitely
amazing.
talk more on, like you could text me later because I'm gonna be up, but I know you're supposed to be sleeping.
I
So
know, right?
whenever you get done what you need to do, get that beauty rest. Like
Man,
Mr. Robinson should be doing.
right?
Mm. Oh,
Right?
look at there you go.
Uh-oh. I'm
There you go.
you ready to
Finally. Out,
outlast me.
lights out.
I, I have a, what is he saying? I have
Campaign
a
to launch
campaign to lunch
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Wish I could stay. Be
Go to bed, Mr. Rob.
eat. Look,
Thank you for
let's go to
coming,
bed.
though. Thank you. Thank you for all of y'all showing up for today. This is awesome.
Man, okay. I'm going to bed. I need to go to sleep because I know I need to go. I need to be up like at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I know this is just like your stomping ground time.
Oh, for sure. I'm already like, the alarm just went off like a few minutes ago. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you. And I
Night,
thank you so
Mr.
much.
Robinson.
And I'm definitely gonna have you on to talk about it more and to talk about your story. And uh I absolutely love you.
I
Absolutely.
love you too, Katrina. We need to talk more about other subjects too, because I know
Agreed.
that we need to push it out there.
Agreed.
Um, because it just needs to get traction. It needs
Mhm.
the traction that we have been pushing for all over, in
Agreed.
from the people at the front line in the marches to
Mhm.
people who are, sitting back here as a digital warriors and getting things done from all levels. To,
Agreed.
and good night, Mr. Robinson. I know he's going up to bed.
Go
So
to bed, old man.
and go to bed, Miss Katrina. And I'll see you in the morning, I guess. Text me
Yes.
whenever.
Yes. Yes. Thank you again so much.
You're very
So,
welcome.
so much. You are the most amazing woman I've ever met in my entire life.
Thank you.
And we will continue to go forward and work together.
Yep.
And I love you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a good night. Sleep well, y'all.
All right.
Okay.
Oh.